come to Arlington bringing star power. Dustin Pedroia and Big Papi David Ortiz, and the heart of their rotation, Buchholz, Lester, and Lackey. Your Rangers have not been blinded by those bright lights, as they've taken care of the Sox the last 2 seasons. Tonight, the marquee belongs to Yu Darvish, making the start as the Rangers and the Red Sox begin a 3-game series. It's Friday night. It's time for Texas Rangers baseball on TXA 21. It is a warm and cloudy, humid night here at Globe Life Ballpark. Rangers looking to clear things up as they take on the Boston Red Sox in the first of 3 over this Mother's Day weekend. And welcome in, everyone. A Friday night of Ranger Baseball. Glad to have you along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. And it should be an exciting weekend. This rivalry has turned into something pretty good between the Rangers and the Red Sox. Tom, the Rangers have handled the Red Sox in this ballpark pretty well.
They have, Buzz. I think our fans feel the same way. We're going to have great crowds this weekend. The Red Sox won on Wednesday to get to 500 for the first time since early in this season. So they're playing a little bit better right now. You always feel like it's a tough matchup when you go into Fenway for sure. And you feel when you're playing the Red Sox it's a tough matchup anyway. But at home in Globe Life Park, in the last 6 games, the Rangers have played very well. They've beaten the Red Sox 5 out of 6. The Red Sox have hit below 200 and haven't scored 2 runs per game in those 6 games. So hopefully the Rangers will be able to keep this mastery of the Red Sox alive in our home ballpark.
There you go. And the Rangers, of course, last night, great pitching and shutout, their 7th of the year, and they got the offense going. So they hope those two work in tandem for this whole series against the Red Sox. Tonight, it'll be Yu Darvish and company looking to continue their mastery over the Red Sox here at Globe Life. We'll be back with the starting lineups and the first pitch right after this on TXA 21. is sponsored by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. By Globe Life, the official life insurance company of the Texas Rangers. And by TXU Energy, inspired by you. Well, the Rangers are inspired by their own you. That would be the 27-year-old right-hander Yu Darvish, who was taking the hill and coming off a victory against the Angels his last time out, trying to make it 2 in a row and get his first win in his career against these Boston Red Sox. Has had a bit of a tough time against them in the past. We'll take a look at the lineup that Darvish will face tonight. Dustin Pedroia, the second baseman, leads off. Shane Victorino is in right field. The DH is David Ortiz. Mike Napoli bats cleanup, plays first. Grady Sizemore in left field. Xander Bogaerts is the shortstop. A.J. Pierzynski is catching and batting seventh. Will Middlebrooks is the third baseman. And Jackie Bradley, the center fielder, bats ninth.
And our scouting report for Yu Darvish. 6 starts this year. Record 2-1. Solid ERA, 2.87. Opponents are only hitting .210 against you since 2012. That's the second lowest in Major League Baseball. He struck out 10.4 per 9 innings. That's 7th among American League starters. He's coming off a solid start against the Angels. Gave up 3 runs and 6 1/3. He got the win. The Rangers scored him a ton of runs that day. 14-3 was the score. Other than that game, they haven't scored a lot of runs for Darvish. Start before that didn't go very well in Oakland. That was 4 runs, 6 hits, and 3 1/3. So coming home against the Red Sox, the Rangers are looking to continue to play well. They played well yesterday against the Rockies. They need to play well in this series, and it's kind of up to Darvish to get us started on the right foot tonight.
And Yu Darvish trying to get back on the winning side of things here in this ballpark. We'll take a look at the Ranger defense behind Darvish tonight. SHIN-SOO Choo back in the outfield. He's playing left. Leonys Martin in center. Alex Rios in right. Prince Fielder at first. Rougned Odor with his second Major League start at second. Elvis Andrus, the shortstop. Adrian Beltre at third. And J.P. Arancibia is catching Yu Darvish tonight. Oh, just about ready to get underway. Dustin Pedroia steps in, hitting at .284. Pedroia, a home run and 10 driven in. And the first pitch from Darvish is a high, tight fastball. It is 1-0. 4 for 7 in his career is Dustin Pedroia against Yu Darvish. This has not been a matchup that has favored Darvish at all. He pitches high and tight. It's now 2 balls and no strikes. 85 degrees at first pitch here tonight. Cloudy skies, sun trying to break through as it begins to set in the west. Red Sox had an off day yesterday and come in here at 500 for the first time this year. 2-1 the count to Pedroia. John Farrell, the skipper for the Red Sox in his second full year, took them to the World Championship last year. 2-hopper out to Elvis. 1 out. Darvish fell behind 2-0, but came back to get Pedroia. And with 1 away, it'll be Shane Victorino. Darvish was mentioned trying to break a streak here at home. He has not won here in his last 9 starts. Those have not been all losses, but he has not had a victory here since last year. Rangers this year, in Darvish's starts, however, have fared well. They are 5-1. There's a fastball for a strike. Your baseball fans will recognize Shane Victorino is listed as a switch hitter, but he has pretty much abandoned it. He's hitting right-handed all the time now. 0-1 pitch. And the big breaking ball veers wide of the mark. Victorino, who is out for the first series of the Rangers played against the Red Sox up there in Fenway. Back in the Red Sox lineup. Red Sox touting the fact that they have their lineup back now with Will Middlebrooks back in there, Victorino back in there. This was the lineup that they had anticipated having coming out of spring training, but John Farrell had not had healthy pieces to work with.
And Victorino was a real spark plug for them in their World Series
season last year. Oh, nice slider right there.
2-2.
Feature that one all night long. Be a long night for the Red Sox hitters. That's a sharp breaking slider right
Sure
there.
was. Goodness.
Don't most of his sliders break more than that?
Yeah, I thought
like
so.
From
That
right
was,
to left?
That was more of a downer slider.
Yeah.
The 2-2 pitch got him swinging. There was the slider that, or the kind of break on the slider we normally see.
Yeah, more of a slurvy kind of thing. The last time that you pitched against the Red Sox here was just about a year ago. He went 7 innings and struck out 14. Gave up a couple of home runs in that game, but he definitely had the strikeout pitch working for him that day.
And having that pitch, that slider, that's usually when we see the high strikeout totals.
Yeah, definitely.
He has that going. And Victorino going back, telling his teammates exactly what he saw or what he didn't see. Say, hey, guys, don't swing at that slider. It's a nasty one.
Yeah, okay, why'd you swing at it?
That's right.
I couldn't help myself.
Here's David Ortiz, and a huge shift on, as always, the pitch outside to him. Rangers, like everybody else against Ortiz, putting 3 players on the right side of the infield. Adrian Beltre, the third baseman, the only one left on the left side.
That's a shift that we've seen quite a bit against Prince Fielder.
Yep.
Not every team is that dramatic, but we've seen it before.
Fastball for a strike to even the count. Ortiz with half a dozen home runs. That leads the Red Sox club. 18 RBI. Second highest slugging percentage in this ballpark over his career. There's that slow hook.
Where was that?
Next time you're going to throw that, you got to tap the umpire in the shin guard. Let Greg Gibson know it's coming.
It had to be outside. Yeah, it was. Wow. Well, we're off to the side, so we don't get a perfect view from behind home plate. Apologies to home plate umpire Greg Gibson. Good call.
A topper foul, and it's 2-2. Tom apologize. I'm not going to apologize.
You're not going to apologize.
No.
All right. Well, I was the one. Well, you didn't say anything. I was the one popping off, which is usually the case.
Rest of the umpiring crew, the much maligned Greg Gibson behind home plate. Bill Miller, the crew chief at first. Vic Carapaz at second. Adam Hamari is the third base umpire tonight. 2-2 pitch to Ortiz. Not in on him, but Ortiz able to get pretty good wood on it. That'll stay in the ballpark as Leonys Martin back there in a 14-pitch inning for Yu Darvish. He sends the Red Sox down in order. We played half an inning. Red Sox nothing. Rangers coming up on TXA 21. Top of the first. Now the Rangers come to bat against Clay Buchholz. Here's their lineup this evening. Shin-Soo Choo in left field leads off. Elvis Andrus back up in the number 2 slot. Plays shortstop. Adrian Beltre is the third. Prince Fielder, the cleanup hitter. Alex Rios in right. The DH tonight, Mitch Moreland hitting 6th. JP Arancibia is catching. Leonys Martin in center. And the number 9 hitter is Rougned Odor. His second major league game.
And our scouting report for Red Sox starter Clay Buchholz. 2-2. He's got a 5.63 ERA in 2 starts. Since the start of 2013, he's pitched very well on the road. That's the lowest in the major leagues, as a matter of fact, if you've had 10 starts. 304 opponent's batting average. Left-handers don't fare quite as well as right-handers. Righty versus righty is almost 380. The other thing about his ERA, he's had a couple of really bad starts, but his last 2 starts have been pretty good. 7 innings, 6 1/3, total of 4 runs. You take those 2 bad starts out of there, 6 2/3, 20 hits and 14 runs. It hasn't been that bad.
And the first pitch to Shin-Soo Choo is a bit low for ball 1.
Don't you wish you could do that, Buzz? When you were a pitcher, just take your bad starts out and don't count them?
I would have been real good if it hadn't been for my bad times.
Can't imagine to be a pitcher with a bad record if he could take out all his bad starts. Unless he just never had any good ones. But then he wouldn't be there for very long.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. It's kind of like a hitter saying, I would have hit 350 if it hadn't been for those 0 for 12s. Choo in the month of May just tearing things apart. Look at that, 478 average. Top mark in the American League with that 343 batting average. And the on-base percentage is second in the major leagues also. Down on the count here, a ball and 2 strikes to the 29-year-old right-hander Clay Buchholz, an East Texas native. To the wind he goes, and the pitch inside almost clipped him. 2-2.
And Buchholz has given up almost half of his hits in those 2 starts that cover only 6 2/3 innings. Given up 42 hits, 20 of them have come over 2 starts in 6 2/3 innings. Well, that's the kind of start we're looking for today.
Breaking ball, call strike 3. It looked like a cutter or hard slider on the outside corner, and Choo caught looking, and Buchholz gets the first out on a punch out.
I think for a hitter, that's one of the toughest pitches to hit. That sharp breaking cutter looks like it's going to be outside, and then right at the end it comes back and catches the corner. Well, it almost catches the corner. You know, with the way Choo battles at the plate and lays off bad pitches, you almost consider him the kind of guy you don't call that pitch on, because he's one of the few guys that can distinguish whether that's a strike or a ball.
Elvis takes the pitch high and away for ball 1. Andrus out of that number 2 slot on the last road trip, back up there now, and 227 the average. Elvis does have a 5-game hitting streak going. Hard hit ball to the right side. It's through for a base hit. Well, good at bat by Elvis, taking that pitch away from him and doing exactly what that pitch asked him to do, and that was hit it hard to the right side.
But that's one thing Elvis really needs to get back to doing, is hit the ball on the ground, hit the ball on a line, and get away from hitting the ball in the air. You know, occasionally he can get out in front of one like he did in Tampa, but he's not going to be a home run hitter. And if he can use the whole field, hit line drives, and keep the ball on the ground, then everything's going to work out fine for him. Get the ball in the air, and the outfielders run it down at the warning track.
You know, the Rangers kind of got their running game going last night. Had some people on, and we'll see if Elvis decides to take off here with Beltre at the plate and to throw Napoli scurrying around after it from Buchholz. Beltre at 253, although just 1 for 7 in the 2 games against the Rockies here in this ballpark. 1 for 8 in his career against Clay Buchholz. Elvis a pretty good lead at first. He's staying put, and the pitch is outside for ball 1.
Buchholz last year got off to a great start. He was 12-1. He had a 1.74 ERA for the season. In the first half, he made the All-Star team, but then he spent the rest of the time on the disabled list with a neck strain. He's on his way to an incredible year. He's an All-Star pitcher, 12-1. Yeah. Couldn't stay healthy. He's had a hard time staying healthy. He's been on the disabled list 5 times. 08, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Last 4 years he's been on the disabled list. He's had a hard time staying healthy, but when he's at the top of his game, he's one of the toughest pitchers to hit.
Long look at first. Down the 1-0 pitch. A little late swing and a miss by Beltre. It's 1-1. Buchholz from Lumberton, Texas. Graduated from Lumberton High School, went to Angelina Junior College. Pitched down there for a year. The Red Sox drafted him in 2005 with the 42nd overall pick. Signed to the Red Sox, made his major league debut in 2007. Hard hit down the left field line, a fair ball, and headed to the corner. Elvis being waved around third. He will score without a throw in Adrian Beltre. Gets the Rangers on the board with the RBI double, 1-0 Texas.
That's one of the nice things when you're third and fourth place hitter. Generally, the guys that are on base in front of you can run. And once that ball went down the left field line, there was pretty much no way that Grady Sizemore was going to be able to retrieve it before Elvis and his solid speed makes it all the way around the bases to score. Well hit ball. Nice swing by Adrian. Hooks right into the corner.
Well, Beltre drives in his 10th run as Elvis scores from first. Rangers on the board in a hurry against Clay Buchholz and the Red Sox. And Prince Fielder now will come up. Fielder with his 3rd home run of the year last night. Hit it off the facing of the upper deck in right field. Ball 1 is outside. The Red Sox not putting an overshift on with Fielder. With Buchholz throwing, he throws a lot of tailing fastballs. They do have Pedroia, though, about midway between first and second, and a couple of steps onto the outfield grass. You can see Bogarts, the shortstop, not really shading him much up the middle. Fly ball, well hit to right center. Going back is Bradley. He's at the wall. He leaps up and makes the catch. Beltre tags at second. He will try to advance and will make it standing. Jackie Bradley Jr. all the way back to the 4:07 mark to take what could have been a home run away from Prince Fielder.
Yeah, pretty much any other part of the park, and that is a home run. He pulls it just a little bit, maybe even to dead center field, but he hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark, 407, and Bradley went a long way for that. He times it perfectly and goes up and takes it right near the top of the wall. Great concentration, and with his athletic ability, it turned out to be a relatively easy play for him. He got back, he timed it, he goes straight up and made the catch.
It probably wouldn't have been a home run. It might have been off the top of the wall.
Yeah, it looked like it would have got top of the wall.
In any event, it was close. Now here's Alex Rios. And the first pitch is on the inside corner for strike 1.
The good sign is it's a great swing. Solid contact. Following up a game where he had a home run. That's a good sign. Keep hitting the ball solidly like that. Great things are on the horizon.
Buchholz still from the stretch with Beltre at third, and the check swing, the pitch low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Alex 2 for 2 in last night's game, was on all 4 times. He has not had a lot of success against Buchholz, just 3 for 15. And he's got Beltre at third and 2 outs here in the Ranger first. Slapped foul the other way over the Ranger dugout. And the count moves to 2-1. A good sign here tonight, and people kind of on the Rangers in this 2 series they had against the Rockies, the 2 in Denver and the 2 here, about looking lifeless, not having energy. Well, you don't get many guys on base, and you're down 6-0 in the first inning. It's hard to be energetic.
Yeah, the only way you're going to show energy if you got a pom-pom sitting in the dugout jumping up and down.
Slowly hit up the middle. Bogarts gets rid of it, and just in time to nip Alex Rios by half a step. Well, the Rangers gone, but they get on the board, a run on a couple of hits, and they leave 1. After 1 inning of play, Rangers 1, Red Sox nothing. Park and got the Ranger colors on. They are going to town. Yu Darvish with a 1-run lead now to work with after 1 inning of play. So Rangers getting Darvish some runs. And as Yu's finishing up his warm-up tosses, we have a moment here. Let's welcome Jane Slater in. Jane?
Well, hello, gentlemen. For our dreamers at home that are watching the broadcast, I'm sure many of you would love to come out here, play an outfielder, maybe suit up in the clubhouse. I've got an opportunity for you to do that. We're bringing Fantasy Camp back here to Globe Life Park. Put it on your calendar, September 18th through the 21st. Again, like I said, come out here and try your hand at this with some of the former Rangers. To find out more about it, go to Texas Rangers, and that's //Foundation. Again, www.texasrangers/Foundation. Guys, back to you.
All right, Jane, thank you. That'd be a lot of fun. Those always a good time if you like to go out and play a little ball and be around the guys. It's a lot of fun. Former Ranger Mike Napoli takes a fastball for strike 1 from Yu Darvish. Knapp having another strong year with the Red Sox, off to a very good start. See his on-base percentage of .417. That's good for 3rd in the American League. Team high 20 RBI, 5 home runs. 1-1 the count.
Well, the other thing that Knapp does, he sees a lot of pitches. 4.7 pitches per at bat. Second most in the major leagues, and that's pretty much been a trend his whole career. He sees a lot of pitches. 2 reasons for that, really, Buzz. He's got a pretty good eye at the plate, and he swings and misses a lot.
Yes.
There we go. Pitches per plate appearance this season. Just a hair behind Carlos Santana.
Now, I wouldn't have thought Mike Trout would have been up there that high just watching him play, but apparently he does that consistently.
Yeah.
1-2 pitch to Napoli. Now 2-2. Maybe because every time we see Mike Trout, he's swinging to the first couple of pitches against Ranger pitching and having success. Except for this last series.
Yeah, I don't really like seeing him come to the plate very much. I like watching him play, but I'd like to watch him play against other teams, and I don't care what he does.
That's right. Yeah, Darvish and Aaron Sebia, differing opinions on what to throw on the 2-2. Now they're ready. Napoli waiting. Darvish back to the plate. Call strike 3. And Napoli, I believe, looking for something else. Certainly wasn't looking for that pitch right down the middle.
No, from our point of view, it looks like a strike. Let's take another look at it. Inside corner? Yep, way on the inside corner, all the way inside the plate. No doubt about that one.
Might have been looking for a hanging curveball again.
Maybe.
Swung through the first one. He wanted to get a second chance. So 1 out. Darvish has struck out 2 of the first 4. Here's Grady Sizemore. And the pitch just outside for ball 1. Sizemore coming back from all the injury problems that he had in Cleveland. In his first year of being healthy in the last several. .234 with a couple of home runs. Red Sox and he's really working himself back into game shape after the long layoffs that he's had. Sizemore, whose game was really centered on a lot of speed earlier in his career before the knee injuries and all of that have taken their toll. He still runs well, but not the burner that he was with the Indians for all those years. Had good luck against the Rangers, though, as you saw, 5 for 8 in that series up in Fenway. Sizemore taking his time, getting back in the box. Now Darvish agrees and comes set. The 1-1 pitch. Did he go around? No, he did not. Peeled down to third base umpire Adam Hamari, and he said, nope, no swing. It's 2-1. Sizemore hitting slightly better against right-handed pitching this year, .243 as opposed to .208 against left-handers. Hits that one off his front foot and it rolls out to Prince Fielder. Foul ball. That evens the count. Sizemore hitting 5th again, and John Farrell has found a spot where Sizemore is pretty comfortable in that Red Sox order. This is his 10th start hitting 5th, and he's been a .361 hitter in the first 9. The 2-2. A foul ball. Rangers snapped that 3-game losing streak last night as they shut out the Rockies 5-0. 7th shutout by Ranger pitching this year, and his tops in the American League. Another 2-2 is on the way. Matter of fact, the Rangers now with 7 shutouts in their first 35 games, only the 2nd American League club since the DH came into being to be able to say that. And another foul ball from Sizemore. The only other team to have that many shutouts in so few games, the Angels of 1989 had 7 shutouts in their first 27 games. The Rangers 7 in their first 35. So pretty impressive for this Ranger pitching staff. And to shut out the Rockies, who had not been shut out prior to last night. Reaching for it, Sizemore hits a fly ball, shallow right field. A long run in for Alex Rios, and those long legs covering a lot of ground. Makes a running catch.
He hit that ball off the end of the bat. He was fooled by it, so it didn't go very far. Alex had a long way to come get that ball. Got to it in plenty of time. Made a nice running catch. 5 up, 5 down for Darvish. It's too far out for Odor to go get it, so it was either going to fall in for a hit or Alex was going to catch it. And he made the catch.
Well, here's Xander Bogaerts. Young shortstop takes a strike at the knees. Bogaerts, you'll remember when the Rangers saw him in April in Fenway, hotter than a firecracker, but he has since cooled off down to .268 with the batting average. Breaking ball, and it's 0-2.
Bogaerts hasn't had a lot of production. He's only hit 1 home run and knocked in 5 runs. He gets on base a lot. He's walked 17 times. He has a nice on base percentage, .379.
Darvish with the 0-2 pitch. Well, he didn't miss by much, and he got it up there at 96.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you know, he's throwing 90, 91, 92 for 5 batters. All of a sudden, Bogaerts gets up there and he pops one in there at 96 out of nowhere.
That's just what he's got in his back pocket.
Saving it, yeah. Plenty in the tank today.
1-2. Got him swinging.
There it is again.
96 up a little bit. 3 strikeouts in the first 6 for Yu Darvish. He's retired all 6. 3 up, 3 down. On to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Rangers on TXA 21. questions, call in the pregame interview to Mark McLemore at 469-209-2121. And if Mac reads your text in the postgame show tonight, you'll win a $50 Sporting Good gift card courtesy of Metro PCS. The Rangers come to bat in the bottom of the second, leading 1-0. Mitch Moreland will start things off. Aaron Sebia and Martin to follow. And Buchholz to the plate. A chopper foul off the front foot of Mitch. Been a while since we've seen Mitch in a starting role. All the left-handers that the Rangers have faced, and being on the road for a couple of interleague games, didn't get a chance to start there. Some big pinch hits. But this is just his second start in the last 8 ball games. 0-1 is on the way. Slow breaking ball that drops over the outside corner. And it's 0-2. Mitch brings a 4-game hitting streak in, and over the last 11 games, he has turned things around pretty well. 375, the batting average for Moreland. 284 with a home run and 11 driven in for Mitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Clay Buchholz, a 17-game winner with the Red Sox back in 2010. Won 11 in 2012 and 12 last year, as Tom told you. The pitch is high. But the injury bug has curtailed any huge years, although 17 is a pretty good year. 17-7 with a 233 in 2010. Buchholz back to the plate. And Moreland drive to right for a base hit.
That thing was a rocket. Low fastball. Wish he got that one up in the air.
Or Mitch, golf shot single, yeah. He is aboard with the 3rd Ranger hit of the night. Nobody out. JP Arancibia will come up.
A low fastball and well, maybe a cutter. Cut fastball. Lower part of the strike zone. They ripped that ball into right field. Good swing.
Well, here's Arancibia, who has had exactly 0 luck against Clay Buchholz in his career. 0 for 20. Rip here, and it's 0-1. But JP swinging the bat pretty well of late.
Yep, all that means he's due to get a hit.
There you go.
Due to get about 3 or 4 hits tonight.
He's had 3 hits in his last 8 times to the plate. That covers the last couple of games. Had a home run and driven in a pair. 0-1 pitch from Buchholz. 1 ball and 1 strike. JP making his 16th start of the year. Here's the numbers we were talking about. The 3 for his last 8 after a very tough, long stretch of very few hits. There goes Moreland, and the pitch is popped up. Shallow center field, going out Bogarts. Bradley coming on. And the center fielder able to make up the ground, make the catch. Score out number 1. Moreland back to first.
Yeah, that was a hit and run, but Mitch had a good jump on that one. I think he would have stolen that base if JP swung and missed that ball. Take a look at the jump. He was running before Buchholz ever started his delivery.
Yeah.
Mitch would have had that one easy.
No, Moreland back to first. 1 away for LEONYS Martin. Martin up there. They've got Will Middlebrooks, the 3rd baseman, playing in front of the cut of the grass. He's respecting Martin's ability to bunt. 283 the average, a home run. Drove in his 12th run of the year in last night's ball game. Moreland stepping off his lead at first. Buchholz, a belt high set. Rifle foul past Benji Molina down that first base line.
That would have been an interesting play if that ball had made that same carom and been fair. might have gotten back to Pedroia in time to get a force out at second base. Yeah, that would have been some kind of play. I guess it probably couldn't make that same turn. It was fair.
Unless it hit the bag first.
Yeah.
Hit the bag and kick over there good. Playing pinball out here.
Yeah. Well, we got pinball behind home plate, that's for sure.
That's right. Now the 0-1 pitch. Shows bunt, and that had Middlebrooks coming down the line, but the breaking ball stayed high. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, Wash was talking the other day how most teams take the bunt away from Leonys Martin. He had a lot of bunt hits early in the season last year, but if he bunted that ball to third base, Middlebrooks is in on the grass. And if you're in on the grass, bunting is something in the back of your mind. You're not going to catch him by surprise. You better lay down a perfect bunt to beat it out with Middlebrooks playing right there. A better chance to slash one by him.
It's chopped foul, and the count moves to 1-2.
Got the shortstop and double play depth kind of shading towards second, so you've got a lot of real estate to shoot for on the left side of the infield when he's playing in like that.
He'll back up a few steps now at third, and with 2 strikes. Still cutting that hole down on the left side, though. A lot of room right down the third baseline. Moreland getting his lead from first. Buchholz okays the sign and sets. A little Tapper foul behind the plate. We'll try it again. Martin Amada's 2-game hitting streak. 2 for 8 over that streak. Last day had 10 home games, though. He's hit safely here. One of the best averages at home in the American League. He's 4th with a .372 average at Globe Life Park. Down in the count here, a ball and 2 strikes. Now 2-2. Buchholz about ready to unload his 30th pitch of the night. So far 18 strikes, the 11 balls. Rangers making him work a little bit. Just 1 out here in the 2nd inning. And another ball hit sharply but pulled foul. Very, very comfortable Friday night. I feel like they've got a bullseye on them. That's about the 3rd ball that's been shot off the brickwork right in front of them.
You're pretty close to home plate there, too. You have to be on your toes.
Well, they've got Martin played right.
Yeah,
Shift
for
is
sure.
on over there. Another 2-2 coming to him. And another foul ball. Well, the 8th pitch of the at-bat to Leonys Martin will be the next one offered up by Clay Buchholz. 1 on, 1 out, a 2-2 count. Rangers trying to add to their lead, which currently is 1-0. Buchholz ready. And Martin skies one to center field. A little lazy fly ball for Jackie Bradley Jr., who puts it away. Back to first goes Moreland. There are now 2 outs. And Rougned Odor will come to the plate. Odor, an 0 for 4 in his major league debut last night, but did some good work defensively and had some good swings. Try to counteract all those butterflies that I'm sure were flitting around in his stomach.
Yeah, he's a confident young player, plays with a little swagger, but he was feeling butterflies last night if he's human. I think most players feel a little bit of the butterfly feeling every day, every game. You feel that way before a game.
I would think so. Ground ball to Pedroia. He goes the short way. And the force play erases Moreland and the Rangers here in the 2nd. No runs, a hit, 1 left. We're going to the 3rd. Rangers 1, Red Sox nothing. On TXA 21. on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. You can get live look-ins and instant replays, scores, stats, audio, and free MLB.TV game of the day and a whole lot more. Download the app at the App Store or visit TexasRangers.com today. Rangers baseball and nice crowd on hand, 43,000 here tonight. Watch the opening of this three-game Mother's Day weekend series. I want to remind you that there are some very few seats left for tomorrow night. A few standing room seats and some obstructed view seats. There are about 7,500 tickets left for Sunday afternoon's game. If you want to bring mom out or spend the afternoon at Globe Life Park with her, enjoy some Ranger baseball and celebrate Mother's Day. A.J. Pierzynski looking for the 1-0 pitch. It's low and inside, 2-0. Pierzynski having a very good year with the Red Sox. With the Rangers last year. And Pierzynski this year at 287. And he has turned it up a few notches lately. Last dozen games hitting almost 350. And Darvish misses high and away. It's 3-0.
He's an amazing player. He's 37 years old. Still pretty much at the top of his game.
Productive RBI wise, 16 of them. 3 home runs. Takes a strike here to make it 3-1. Now caught over 1,700 games in his career. Darvish trying to get him to open up the third inning. Down on the count, 3-1. Darvish back to the plate. And the count is full.
He's a tough guy to walk. And it'd be pretty tough to walk when the count's 3-2. He's going to swing at almost anything. You can throw a pitch a foot inside, and he might hit it 1 inch above his hands. But if he can reach it, he would generally swing at it. He's walked 4 times in 94 at bats. He's had years where he's walked like 11 times in the whole season. But look that up.
He had a great series against the Rangers in Fenway Park.
He did.
AJ was 7 for 9.
He can bloop them in with the best of them, boy.
Went through a dozen bats getting those 7 hits.
He get his share of ropes too.
3-2, and that's chop foul.
Yeah, with the Rangers in 2013, he batted 503 times and walked 11 times. And a bunch of those were intentional. A year where he walked 15 times, 19 times, 13 times, 16 times. That's not a lot of walks. He's a regular player.
Payoff pitch, call strike 3. Back door, it was wide open. Pierzynski left shaking his head.
Yeah, generally, I think he might have been fooled by that pitch. Generally, he'd swing at it. But, you've got a guy that, as a pitcher, you're not going to walk him. So, you don't have to throw him great pitches to hit. Yet, he's had years where he's hit 28 home runs. He's hit 300. Amazing hand-eye coordination to make the contact he does. Swinging at all the pitches he does. Amazing hitter.
4 strikeouts now for Darvish. And Will Middlebrooks, the third baseman, takes strike 1.
Good job by Darvish coming back from that 3-0 count to the leadoff hitter.
Sure was. Middlebrooks back in the order, hitting a .216. Swing and a miss. And it's 0-2. Red Sox saying Middlebrooks really behind everybody else as far as in game shape. Missed a lot of time early, but gotten back in there, and they're going to be patient with him. That's why he's hitting down so far in the order. Swung on and missed. 3 straight pitches, and Darvish gets his 5th strikeout. 3rd in a row, 2 gone for Jackie Bradley Jr.
He's featuring a good fastball right now. Wasn't thrown that hard in the first inning, but it's 94, 96 now. Here's a high one. See what you can do with it. Great 0-2 pitch out of the strike zone. Got him to chase it.
Darvish retiring the first 8 with 5 strikeouts. Now he deals with Bradley. And the pitch just a little bit high for ball 1. Bradley hitting at just .210, but he's driven in 13, and he gave the Rangers some fits on occasion up there in Fenway. Rip and a miss.
I think I got a two-seam fastball that sunk 92 miles an hour.
Bradley was 5 for 8 in the series in Fenway with 4 runs driven in. Good breaking ball to the inside corner. The Darvish has it going right now.
This is best stuff right here.
The month of May has not been kind to Jackie Bradley Jr. And neither is Darvish. He's ahead now 2-2 the count. Darvish with 45 pitches, 29 strikes, 16 balls. Right-hander nods in agreement and sets. Got him swinging. Darvish striking out the side in order. He has 6 through 3 innings. We're heading to the bottom of the 3rd. Rangers 1, Red Sox nothing on TXA 21. Baseball on TXA 21 is sponsored by Sports City Toyota. Log on to sportscitytoyota.com. Go Rangers. Ranger fans getting it on here tonight. Rangers doing a job on Clay Buchholz through the first couple of innings. Leading 1-0, top of the order now to face him for the second time. The first pitch to Shin-Soo Choo hangs high and outside for ball 1. Choo called out on strikes back in the first. Average at 340. Oh, the Ranger left fielder. And the next pitch floats in. 1-1 the count. Choo now 0 for 8.
Boy, they're calling pitches the last couple of days on Choo that are. You never see that pitch called a strike, let alone to him. They show him some love and respect. All right, that's a strike.
1-2.
I think you got a guy up there swinging at everything, doesn't know the strike zone, but generally a curveball that stays up that far out of the strike zone, not called on a guy like Choo. Shouldn't be anyway.
In the dirt, he's able to lay off it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Saw Choo with a pretty good advantage in the on-base percentage race in the American League. Jose Bautista is second, but some 30 points behind him. Buchholz with the 2-2. Choo able to fight that fastball off. Choo 0 for his last 8 now on this homestand. He's uncharacteristically long dry spell for him. But he's gotten on base a couple of times in those 2 games. Low and inside, the count is now full. But CHOO trying to get aboard. He is tied for 4th in the American League with 23 walks. He's looking down the barrel here at number 24 if he can get on. Elvis Andrus is swinging a bat, getting loose. Payoff pitch from Buchholz. Low and inside, ball 4. No one else is good. CHOO with the walk to lead it off. Buchholz issuing his first free pass of the night. And with CHOO at first, Elvis coming to the plate. Andrus mashed a single to right field his first time up. That average now back up over 230 at 233, and you get Elvis back going. And Ron Washington was saying today that he put him back up in the number 2 slot because of how things fell today in the batting order. He didn't want to have a couple of left-handers back-to-back at the top of the order. They said, he wasn't completely convinced that Elvis was ready to get back to number 2, but he said maybe he'll get going tonight, and then there won't be a question about it. There's a strike on the inside corner.
But he keep taking the same type of swing to keep the ball on the line and on the ground that he took the first time up. Everything's going to work out fine. That was a nice swing, a sharply hit ball between first and second the first time up. Got that same hole to shoot for. In fact, you got a better hole to shoot for now because Napoli's holding CHOO on at first.
Right. And you got Pedroia up a couple of steps at double play depth. And that cuts down his lateral range a bit. 0-1 to Elvis. Another thing that being behind the way the Rangers were in almost all the games against the Rockies is they couldn't do anything as far as hit and run or anything like that.
No.
Now you've got the opportunity to do that if you so choose. Buchholz, a belt high set. He's ready for the 0-1. And that evens the count. CHOO the leadoff walk at first base. Elvis trying to move along. Jim Adduci getting better, by the way, on the disabled list with that fractured finger. Starting to work out a bit. Might be an option for the Rangers here in a few weeks. Buchholz a check of first. And Elvis showing bunt, takes it low and inside. And it's 2-1. Elvis checking with Gary Pettis down there at third. The Ranger third base coach flashing out a series of signs. Over to SHIN-SOO CHOO at first and to Elvis at the plate. We'll see how those signs were interpreted. 2 balls, 1 strike. I'll tell you one thing for Clay Buchholz, he will not be hurried when people are on base. He's going to take whatever time he needs. Figure things out.
That's fair. He's the pitcher. He can dictate that. May not like it, but we cannot control that. Get over his head.
High chopper, foul down the third base line.
I forgot to say, and stay fair.
Well,
I got my wish. It went over his head. It just
did.
wasn't fair.
CHOO back to first. The count is 2-2 on Elvis. Very comfortable night here at Globe Life Park. Temperature in the low 80s right about now. Is 85 at first pitch. Rangers trying to put back-to-back wins together for the first time since mid-April. Buchholz ready, a check of CHOO. And Elvis fights it off foul down the right side. So again, back to what Ron Washington said about Elvis. He said, look, I want him as my number 2 hitter today and forever, but he said he's got to be comfortable there. He's got to be swinging the bat like he can. He said once he gets back to that point, he will be there every single day.
He'd much prefer to keep Martin down at the bottom of the order, and there's not a lot of other alternatives. So you just have to pretty much count on Elvis to turn it around, which he definitely did last year, and he will this year too.
Up the middle, Bogarts dives over it, and it's into center field for a base hit.
That ball went between. That ball would have hit him in the elbow. That was one that I think he thought he had to dive for it, but he really didn't.
I think he thought about halfway through that dive, oh shoot.
Yeah, he had to dive and short arm it at the same time to catch it. It looked like he did short arm it and still missed it by a couple of feet. Let's take a look. Whoops. He realizes right about here, and he tries to keep his glove back instead of extend it, but the ball goes between his glove and his knee for a base hit.
Oh darn. So 2 on, nobody out. Adrian Beltre up there for the second time tonight, and the first pitch to him is low and outside for ball 1. Beltre, an RBI double in the first, driving home the only Ranger run thus far. Well, Adrian up to 10 RBI now.
Well, Adrian's swinging it a lot better. He's hit a lot of balls, several balls hard that had been outs.
You got CHOO at second, Andrus at first. Nobody out here in the Ranger third inning. Buchholz with a 1-0 pitch. Now 1-1. Back in the first inning, Adrian Beltre turning on an inside pitch. That scored Elvis all the way from first base, and Adrian Beltre driving in the run. He's got an opportunity with 2 aboard here to do some more damage. A ball and a strike as Buchholz gets ready. That's off the outside corner, 2-1. Beltre joined that select group of players, only 5 of them in Major League history, with 100 or more RBI with 3 different teams. 100 more home runs, excuse me, with 3 different teams. His home run here on Wednesday night accomplished that. And the pitch outside, it's 3-1. Now Buchholz working himself into a pretty deep hole. Beltre in front of the count, 3 balls, 1 strike. Prince Fielder waiting to hit next. Beltre digging back in. CHOO getting his lead from second. Andrus away from first. Here's SHIN-SOO at the bottom of your screen. Brzezinski with a series of signs. Buchholz ready to go. And Beltre lofts it high in the air down the right side. That will twist back and out of play. And it fills the count. The Rangers have pretty good speed on the base paths, although with CHOO out there at second and the ankle problems that he's had, probably doubtful that Ron Washington would turn him loose to go into a stealing situation. Trying to protect him as much as possible. And hoping he can trot home on something that Beltre drives. Buchholz with the payoff pitch coming to Beltre. Fouled back. And Buchholz really having to work tonight, and he hasn't had the kind of stuff tonight, Tom, which is a little bit odd as you look at the pitch count, the pitch tracker, I should say. He hasn't had swing and miss stuff tonight, which he usually does.
No.
A lot of foul balls. Another 3-2 is on the way. And Beltre protecting the plate, tapped that into the photographer's well down there. Well, Adrian not taking any chances.
Well, that might have been a foot outside. He's hoping to get the one before that. It was right down the middle of the plate that he fouled off. Not a foot outside, but probably 8 inches outside.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just keeps him alive for a good one to hit right here.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming from Buchholz. And Beltre pops it up. A mile high blow wind. Right at the railing. It is on top of the dugout. MIDDLEBROOKS over there to take a look. And that south
break, it looks like. Everyone's going, I had it, I had it. Can't catch that ball with a phone in your left hand, kid. Bring a glove next time.
Boy, a little rough on the fans. Holy cow.
See, that guy's got a glove. Who's got the ball?
Yep. The lady does.
He caught it for her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he missed it. She caught it. I'm not sure which.
Again, the 3-2. Got him swinging. Went up. Beltre couldn't get on top of it, and that is out number 1.
Big strikeout coming back from 3 balls and 1 strike in that situation for Buchholz. 9 pitches, high fastball in the strike zone. Generally, I'd be betting on contact right there from Adrian. Yeah. Buchholz got it by him. Nice pitch. Successful pitch anyway.
Oh, still first and second. 1 away now. Prince Fielder, who hammered the ball to the deepest part of the ballpark, 407 feet from home plate, only to have Jackie Bradley Jr. run it down. Back in the first inning. Line drive, base hit, left center field. CHOO around third will score. Elvis headed to third. Fielder hangs on with the RBI single, and the Rangers lead it 2-0. Prince Fielder going the other way with authority, drives home the run.
That's 2 good at bats. He hit one 407 feet the first time up. And I think that's the hardest hit ball he's hit to the left of second base this year. That was a beautiful swing and a line shot. And slowly but surely it's coming for Prince. And this one is a good indication of it right there. Not a fly ball, but a good line shot to left center field.
So 2-0 Rangers. Here's Alex Rios with runners at first and third. And the pitch to the inside corner for strike 1. Rios, a ground ball to short his first time up. That was the last out of the first inning. 2 home runs, 17 RBI for the Ranger right fielder. He's got Andrus at third, Fielder at first. And Buchholz with the 0-1. Slow tapper foul down the third base line. And Alex now down in an 0-2 hole. Elvis had a single to center. And followed the leadoff walk to SHIN-SOO Choo. Then 1 out later, Prince Fielder singled home Choo, got Elvis to third. Now Rios trying to score Andrus from third base. Not a terribly good percentage scoring men from third base with less than 2 out. And this should get it done if it's caught down there deep in the right field corner. Victorino up against the padding, tagging at third. Coming in to score is Elvis Andrus. And the sacrifice foul fly by Alex Rios gets the job done. That increases the Ranger lead to 3-0. That's his 18th RBI.
That's what you want to do, get the ball up in the air. Well, I guess late in the ball game, in a 1-run game or a tie game, you might let that one go. But early in the ball game, you have to catch that, even though you know the run's going to score. You don't catch it, you let it drop. Then he hits a double in the gap. You're kind of in a hopeless situation.
That's what I was going to ask you. That's all dependent on the score.
Don't you think?
The time of the game.
I'm trying to think if he should catch that. I think he's got to catch that one. You got a guy that got a guy at the plate hitting 300. If you let it drop, okay, it's first and third, and he's still hitting. But then if he lines one in the gap, you got a couple of runs scored.
Right.
And still only 1 out. It's kind of a tough call. The other thing is, as you're sprinting over toward the wall, you're not positive where the foul line is. You let it drop and it's fair, then you got the worst of everything.
Moreland takes a big slow breaking ball that dips in. It's 0-2. Mitch had a single to lead off the second.
I don't know that I've ever seen an outfielder let a foul fly drop on purpose to keep a sacrifice fly from scoring. But there are times in a game where you would definitely do that. Obviously, in a tie game in the 8th or 9th inning, you wouldn't want the go-ahead run to score.
And Moreland takes it low and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And the other way to look at it, I guess, is if you think Yu Darvish is going to continue to pitch like it is right now, you would say to yourself, man, I can't give up another run here. 3 runs is too much to overcome. But unless you're thinking about that ahead of time, you're not going to think of it while you're running to the foul line.
1-2 pitch. Up the middle, into center field, a base hit. And Mitch is 2 for 2. Stopping at second is Fielder. And Moreland going right back through the box with his second single of the night.
Yeah, a couple of good, short, quick swings by Mitch. I think that's something he works on, is to keep his swing short and quick. And so far today, it's worked really well. He's lined with a low fastball into right field, goes back up the middle with 1, 2 hard hit balls.
Juan Nieves now the pitching coach for John Farrell's Boston Red Sox, out to the mound. Here's a good look at that short stroke.
Buchholz is doing the right thing, getting out of the way of that thing.
Look out. Good thing he's thin. Turned sideways and missing.
Tougher target.
Now 30 pitches this inning for Clay Buchholz.
Who's that big right-handed pitcher you guys used to have? Hard throwing right-hand pitcher.
It was real thin?
No, that was real big that you couldn't miss. Ken Wright?
Oh, Ken Wright, yeah.
Remember Ken Wright?
Ken Wright.
That ball might have hit Ken Wright.
It would have hit him several times.
He was a wide body, but he could get it up there pretty good.
Yeah. Ken Wright. I hadn't thought of him in a long time. And J.P. Arancibia, first ball swinging, pops it up.
And
Pedroia coming down next to Napoli, and Pedroia puts it away, and that'll do it. But the Rangers put 2 more on the board on 3 hits, and they leave 2. We're going to the 4th inning. It is 3-0 Rangers on TXA 21. From Sunday, that's Sunday, May 18th. Rangers take on the Blue Jays, a 2:05 game, and the first 15,000 fans will get a Prince Fielder bobblehead. That's courtesy of Medical Center Arlington, and it's going to be a great giveaway for you to come out and collect. Good seats are still available, so go to TexasRangers.com and grab your seats today. Top of the 4th inning, Yu Darvish now with a 3-0 lead to protect. And Dustin Pedroia at the top of the order for the Red Sox. Pedroia, a ground ball to short as he started things here this evening. 0-1 pitch. And it is 0-2. Yu Darvish. Good command of the fastball, good velocity and movement on the fastball. Outstanding breaking ball. Other than that, he's just kind of mediocre night.
That's, it's one of those nights where he does have command of his fastball, and when he's not throwing well, that's his biggest problem.
Yep. Pitch all the way to the backstop, and it's 1-2. And unlike most pitchers, when he has stuff like this, he has about 3 different ways he can go with his basic pitches.
Yeah.
Most guys have one thing they can do when they get ahead of a hitter to put him away. And Darvish is not limited.
Oh, we've seen him tonight get Brzezinski on a curveball, Middlebrooks on a high fastball, and Pedroia on a slider. So there's what you're talking about, Buzz. There's 3 different ways of doing it.
That is strikeout number 7. And with 1 out, bases empty, let's say hello again to Jane Slater. Jane.
Well, hello. Just a friendly reminder for all of our fans at home. Sunday is Mother's Day. I'm standing by with Marley. You enjoy these games. Do you love your mom? She brought you here tonight.
Yes.
Now, have you gotten Mom a gift yet?
I've been thinking about it, but not yet.
All right, I've got a good idea for you. Since Mom brought you here tonight, what about bringing Mom on Sunday? Would you like that? She's got some chore money, right?
Oh, yes. We would love to come to the game.
There you go. And for those of you that would love to come to the game, we've got a couple of tickets still left. Not a couple, we've got quite a few. So if you want to go to TexasRangers.com. The weather is supposed to be absolutely beautiful on Sunday, and it's your last chance to watch the Boston Red Sox play here at the ballpark this year. So go check it out. Marley, chore money, you've got it, right? Got to work on it.
Okay.
She's going to pool that chore money, and so for you at home, you can do the same. Guys, back to you.
All right, Jane, thank you. Good idea. Bring Mom out to the ballpark Sunday afternoon. 1-1 pitch to Victorino. 2 balls and a strike. Victorino saw a pretty good assortment of breaking pitches his first time up and couldn't connect with any of them. He went down swinging. 267 the average for the Red Sox right fielder. Darvish back to the plate. And a pop foul back behind the screen and into the seats. 2-2. You get Victorino and Pedroia, 2 very sparky type players at the top of that order. That's a gritty lineup that you have to face then with Ortiz and Napoli and the big guys coming up after him.
That was one of their key components to the World Championship team last year.
Still 2-2. Yu Darvish, 55 pitches through the first 10 hitters. He has struck out 7 of them. He had 2 fly balls and 1 ground out. The right-hander comes set, and the 2-2 again. Got him swinging. Strikeout number 8, and that is number 6 in a row.
I guess pitchers don't have a lot of games where every single thing is working the way they want it to, but through 3 2/3, you're right, Buzz. Darvish has that going for him tonight. Pretty much everything he's throwing is where he wants to throw it.
Well, Darvish now will face David Ortiz. Ortiz a fly ball to center field, and he takes a knee-high strike. It's 0-1. Ortiz is the only Red Sox that has really come close to hitting the ball hard for Darvish. Fly ball to medium deep center field his first time. Oh, 0-1 the count as Darvish leads in for the sign. Aaron Sebia going through a couple of different sides. Darvish waiting. Now Ortiz tired of waiting himself, and he backs out. Now Ortiz back in. Darvish 1 away from the consecutive strikeout record for the Rangers. And he won't get it here as the fly ball's off to the left. But that's going to be the 3rd out of the inning as CHOO puts it away. Red Sox gone in order once again. And we're through 3.5. It's the Rangers 3, the Red Sox nothing on TXA 21. from 6:30 to 7:30 in the evening in Metro BCS location. That's at 2605 West Airport Freeway in Irving. Walsh will be signing autographs, and you can register for a chance to win a baseball VIP experience with him at a future game. Leonys Martin leading off, shows bunt, and takes a strike from Clay Buchholz. Martin, Odor, and CHOO, the first three Rangers to swing here in the fourth inning. Rangers leading 3-0. Martin fly to center his first time. He takes the breaking ball that hangs outside. It is 1-1. Leonys at 281 as he faces Buchholz leading off this fourth. Now 1-2. Martin, over the last 20 ball games, has averaged right at 300. It's been a good stretch for him. 1-1 pitch. That's looped to left field. It's going to fall for a base hit. Well, Leonys Martin, a leadoff single. The Rangers now have had their leadoff man aboard in the last 3 innings, and 3 of the first 4. Well,
they've got their leadoff hitter on that can run, too.
Let's take a look at the Globe Life quote for you. Talking about Rougned Odor. And I expect them, both Odor and Sardinas, to play baseball. If they weren't performing, they wouldn't be here. They're playing good baseball, and we believe in them. That's from the skipper, Ron Washington. And no hesitation on Wash's part, throwing Odor in there last night.
Well, with all the injuries the Rangers have had, a lot of players have gotten an opportunity they otherwise wouldn't have gotten. And it's up to them to take advantage of it. A lot of them have. And even if they haven't taken advantage of it, they've got invaluable experience from it.
I guess the primary question that folks asked when they brought Rougned to the big leagues is, what happens when Profar comes back? Well, it's one of those questions that baseball will typically answer. There goes Martin. The pitch is a strike. The throw to second is in time. And the tag applied to Leonys Martin. It looks like he might have spiked Bogarts going in there. Now Martin shot down by Pierzynski.
Well, he's got, you know, where he is. That's what's going to happen. You put your leg down in front of the base like that, where the guy's sliding in. I mean, no one wants to get hurt. No one's trying to hurt intentionally, but that's about as clean a slide as you can make.
Sure is.
And when your leg goes down in front of the bag like that, you're kind of on your own. I hope he's okay, but that's a dangerous position to be in. A lot of times you'll see an infielder do that when he anticipates a pickoff throw, when a runner is going to dive back to the bag. But if he anticipates a guy is going to go in with a hard slide with his spikes up like that, that's a very dangerous position for the infielder to be in.
Yeah, it's perfectly legal, but it's a real danger to your knees.
Yeah, you're pretty much on your own. You get what you deserve, what you get. You don't want to see anyone hurt. He's a fine young player. I'm glad he's not hurt. That's a dangerous thing to get into, to get your body in position for.
So Martin shot down by Pierzynski. 2-6 on the caught stealing, and the count is no balls and 1 strike to Rougned Odor. Base is empty now with 1 away here in the 4th inning. Slow breaking ball winds its way into the strike zone. It's 0-2. Odor at the time of his call-up hitting .279 with Double-A Frisco. Had half a dozen home runs. And he loops one to right field. It is down for a base hit. And Rougned Odor, with his first major league hit, is aboard here in the 4th inning. Congratulations, young man.
Ball jumped off his bat. He kind of reached down for a pitch he was fooled on slightly. And he smoked that ball into right field. Fans give him a nice ovation. Mike Napoli retrieved the ball and handed it to him. It's always a nice moment when you see a player get his first major league hit.
Oh, you got that one out of the way.
He kind of just reaches down and one arms that ball. It jumped off his bat. It was hit well into right field. Nice going, Rubned.
Here is Shin-Soo Choo, and he goes after that first pitch and lashes it foul to the left.
Hold your breath on those kind of screamers into the stands. Hope everybody's paying attention. I think everybody's okay.
Sure, Odor will get a copy of that and put that in the archives for future reference. 0-1 the count to Shin-Soo Choo. Choo was struck out and walked. Scored a run after he walked in the third. Choo hitting an even .340. Came in with that on-base percentage at .481, and that's gone up a click or two. Tried to turn on that pitch and fouled it down off his foot. No balls, 2 strikes. Odor at first. Choo at the plate. Rangers leading 3-0. Trying to add on against Buchholz here in the 4th. Right-hander sets a check up first. And the high tight fastball makes it 1-2. Choo not only tied for 4th coming in the American League in walks with 23, tied for 2nd and hit by pitch at 5. And he hits a towering fly ball to right field.
He just missed that.
Backing up Victorino, he will stop right in front of the warning track and make the catch.
That had upper deck written all over it.
And that thing way up there off Choo's bat. That is out number 2, and here comes Elvis Andrus.
It's kind of an uppercut swing and caught it, so he hit it straight up in the air. It still went to the warning track. It's one, if he leveled his swing off and made the same contact, he's trotting around the bases.
Elvis has singled both times that he's faced Clay Buchholz tonight. Once to right, once to center. Odor with pretty good speed at first. And first pitch is outside to Elvis. Well, Andrus now a 6-game hitting streak. He has gone 7 for 19. Getting that average going the right way. He's just below 240, as you can see. The 1-0 pitch to him. Now 2-0. Rangers with 8 hits so far. They've had 2 in this inning. They had 3 in the 3rd inning, and Mitch Moreland has a couple of those hits. And there's the first hit ball for Rougned Odor. Waiting for him in his bat helmet box. Fouled off by Elvis, 2-1. Odor checking across the diamond with Gary Pettis. Ranger third base coach giving him some signs, and Elvis stepping back in. 2 outs, a 2-1 count on Andrus. Buchholz nods in agreement. He will check first. There goes Odor. The pitch is a strike. The throw to second in time. And Odor caught stealing. Krasinski gets 2 Rangers in the same inning. Martin and Odor. Rangers gone here in the 4th. No runs, 2 hits, nobody left. On to the 5th we go in Arlington. 3-0 Rangers. is sponsored by Standard Insurance. Call Standard today. And by Freedom Dodge. Nobody beats a Freedom deal, nobody. The fans enjoying a great night at the ballpark. It has been all Rangers thus far, 3-0. Yu Darvish back to the hill, and he will face the middle third of the order in the 5th inning. Mike Napoli, Grady Sizemore, and Xander Bogaerts. Napoli called out on strikes his first time up there. And that breaking ball nibbles on the outside corner for strike one. Darvish from the set. Another breaking ball. 0-2 to Napoli. Napoli brings a modest 2-game hitting streak going in here. 2 for 7 in his last couple of ball games. And Darvish has it going tonight. He's making it tough on everybody this evening.
2 breaking balls, 95 miles an hour. See you later.
Mismatch.
How many
9
is that?
strikeouts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 8. There's 95 miles an hour, and Knapp going back to the bench saying, "Oh, that's too much for me that time."
Yep.
They let a couple of breaking balls go that were actually hittable, probably looking for a fastball. And then the last fastball just wasn't ready for it. Tried to make a little contact with it, but it was already by him.
Grady Sizemore at the plate, and he takes a fastball for strike one. Sizemore in a looping fly ball to right his first time.
Well, Yu has had a number of games in his career where he struck out double digits, but he hasn't had one this year. He struck out 9 twice, and now he's got 9 already in this game.
He's got 9 and 4 in the 3rd innings.
The last time he pitched against the Red Sox here, he threw 7 innings and struck out 14. That was just about a year ago. Didn't get the win. The Rangers, I think, won that game in extra innings, but he had a no decision in that game.
Rip and a miss. Another breaking ball, and Darvish now at 1-2 against Sizemore. Look at the pitch total: 64 pitches, 44 strikes for Yu Darvish. That combination of stuff and command tonight. Unhittable so far for the Red Sox. The crowd wanted that. 2-2.
One of those could have been a strike. Not often a strike, though.
Sizemore wagging that bat back and forth. Darvish set. The 2-2 pitch. Loop to left field. CHOO coming on. Has to stop now. Almost overran it. And makes the catch. Sizemore is gone. 2 outs.
Yeah, Sizemore hit that ball harder than the swing looked like. Really didn't drive it, but it jumped off his bat and almost went over SHIN-SOO's head. Made some solid contact with it. He just kind of reaches out for it. Actually drove it a little bit better left field than it looked like.
Thought we'd gone back to Coors Field there for a minute. The way that thing carried. Oh, 2 outs. Here's Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop. 0-1. The left-handed hitters have had a tough time. Right-handed hitters have been virtually powerless tonight against Darvish.
Yeah, the only right-hand hitter to make contact was Pedroia in the first at-bat of the game.
That's just off the outside corner.
I think that was before you got loosened up, though.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The first inning, I might be wrong, but I think most of his fastballs were 90, 91 miles an hour. Since then, he's amped it up a little bit.
1-1 pitch is coming to Bogaerts. Odor charging. 3 up, 3 down in the 5th. Halfway through the ball game, Yu Darvish and the Rangers leading the Red Sox 3-0 on TXA 21. 21 is sponsored by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Globe Life, the official life insurance company of the Texas Rangers. The fans seeing a special evening here at Globe Life Park. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning, and Elvis Andrus, who was at the plate when Rougned Odor was caught trying to steal, to end the 4th inning, leads off the 5th. Andrus, Beltre, and Fielder to face Clay Buchholz. 1-0 pitch. Pretty good cutter from Buchholz, and it's 1-1. Elvis has scored twice tonight. He has singled twice against Buchholz. 82nd pitch of the evening coming up from the right-hander. It's a bit low. It's 2-1. Rangers have not allowed Buchholz to get off easily in any inning tonight. There's a ground ball headed to center field, and Elvis is 3 for 3.
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about, Buzz. Instead of hitting that ball 325 feet in the air to center field, it looked like he made a concentrated effort to keep that ball on a line or on the ground, and he gets a base hit up the middle instead of an out to center field.
And I would imagine that's exactly what Ron Washington was hoping for. Is
exactly.
He would, Elvis would go off, as he put it tonight, and he has done that. 3 for 3. He's been on base all 3 times, scored twice so far, and Beltre trying to make that 3 for 3. Adrian 1 for 2. Had the RBI double in the 1st inning, driving home Elvis. Last time up, Beltre struck out. Good throw by Buchholz, and Elvis spinning his wheels a little bit, trying to get back into the base. Nobody out. Elvis with the leadoff single. And Buchholz, almost an errant throw. Napoli snagging that one. Beltre, a former Red Sox, played with the Bostons in 2010. After that year, came over and signed a 6-year deal with the Rangers.
That was the one-knee go-for-broke swing.
Yeah, sure was.
Red Sox have seen that before. That was a big year for the Red Sox before he became a free agent and signed with the Rangers.
He drove in more than 100 runs, 25 home runs that year.
Probably hit a few into the green monster with that one.
I would think so. 0-1 the count as Buchholz sets. 0-2.
We'll see if the Rangers keep running. A.J. Pierzynski made 2 nice throws in the 4th inning to gun down Martin and Odor. Both of them singled. First 2 hitters in the inning, both of them got thrown out at second base trying to steal.
Elvis, a pretty good lead at first. And Beltre just able to get a piece of that big breaking ball. And it's still 0-2. Buchholz again having to work overtime. Andrus as a base stealer this year, 11 out of 13 attempts. Rangers still leading the American League in stolen bases as a team, second in Major League Baseball to the Dodgers. Nothing personal, you, but nobody's going to talk to you, I don't think. staying away from you completely.
Well, keep pitching well, that's probably going to be what they keep on doing to you.
That's when it's good to be lonely.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Another 0-2 coming from Buchholz. 1-2. Rangers with 3 runs on 9 hits thus far against Clay Buchholz. Beltre trying to add on to that total. The 1-2 pitch from the right-hander. Got him swinging. Oh, some nasty stuff down and in, and Beltre strikes out for the second time. 1 away, and Prince Fielder coming up. Third strikeout for Clay Buchholz.
Good sinking action on that fastball. Not much in the middle plate. Last time up, he had a couple of pitches in the middle of the plate that he fouled off. That particular time, not anything near the middle of the plate.
Here's Capuano, left-hander, getting up, and
Buchholz is already at 88 pitches.
Brzezinski bluffing a throw to first, but Elvis scampering back easily. The first pitch a little bit low and in to Prince Fielder. Fielder, a big RBI single in the 3rd inning. Drove home the second Ranger run of that frame. 13 runs driven in for Fielder. Average continuing to climb in the last 3 weeks. 1-0 pitch. 2-0. Fielder in the last 20 ball games now has hit just a little bit shy of 300. 295. Well, the consistency is getting back to where Prince would like it. Now, what we've seen the last couple of days, too, driving the ball, especially his last time up, hitting that rope to left center field. And then a long fly ball to center. He's using the big part of the ballpark. Buchholz a check of first. The 2-0 pitch coming. And a strike to the inside corner. Like that cutter in there. And last night, Franklin Morales served it up, and Prince admired it for a second. A little back flip, and he knew it was gone. As soon as he touched that thing off. 2-1 the count here. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not.
He was ready to go. That was a good pitch to hit.
Well, Buchholz now with a 3-ball, 1-strike count to Fielder. Andrus at first, 1 out here in the 5th inning, and Alex Rios will be next. Rangers tonight have gotten RBI, hits, or sacrifice fly from the 3 guys in the middle. And that's a great sign for the Ranger offense. Inside, all 4. 2 aboard for Rios. Second walk issued by Buchholz. First and second with Alex coming up.
Right fielder, Alex Rios.
Well, fans, Wednesday, that's June 11th, Rangers hosting a special Fields of Fashion pre-game event. And your ticket includes a pre-game buffet in the Jack Daniels Club, an MLB merchandise goodie bag worth $75, a look at new women's merchandise, and a ticket to the game against the Marlins, and a whole lot more. It's the perfect last-minute Mother's Day gift. Visit TexasRangers.com/fashion to learn more and get your tickets. One ball, no strikes to count. Alex Rios, a sacrifice fly, plating his 18th RBI of the year last time up. Got Andrus at second, Fielder at first, 1 out in the 5th inning. Buchholz about ready to throw his 95th offering of the night. One and one. Has not been a good year for Alex Rios with runners in scoring position. He is still leading the team in RBI, but this is not a situation where he has been particularly productive in. Ground ball headed to center field, a base hit.
Take that,
Elvis being waved around third. He will score. And there you go. Alex Rios with the RBI single. It's a 4-0 Ranger lead.
He's got it on the ground and found a hole right straight up the middle. That's the way to do it.
And with that base hit, it looks like Alex Rios has bludgeoned Clay Buchholz from the game.
Wasn't a bad pitch, really. Down and in. Got enough of the bat on it. Had pretty good location with it. And that'll probably be it for Buchholz.
Well, John Farrell out taking the ball from Clay Buchholz as Elvis Andrews scores for the third time tonight. Crossing home plate on the RBI single, and that'll do it with the Rangers leading 4-0. And runners at first and second. There's a pitching change underway at Globe Life Park. Back after this on TXA 21. On TXA 21 is sponsored by Freedom Chevrolet. Nobody beats a Freedom deal. Nobody. Well, you Darvish saying that's fine. You guys go ahead and do whatever you need to. I'll hang around here and wait for you to finish scoring, and then we'll go out and shut down the Red Sox. Leading 4-0, and Chris Capuano, the 35-year-old veteran left-hander, into the game.
Capuano pitching out of the bullpen this year and doing a pretty nice job of it. 15 games, 1.69 ERA. 16 innings, hasn't given up a home run yet. Good opponent's batting average. Been a starting pitcher predominantly during his career. Well, looks like he's adapting pretty well to the bullpen.
Mitch Moreland at the plate. Lefty against lefty matchup with fielder at second. Rios at first. And Moreland drives one to right. If it's fair, it's gone. It is foul.
Boy, that was a long way out there.
That ball was smoked.
If that stayed fair, that would have gone over the seats and into the walkway out there if it went between the foul pole and the upper deck. That was the... Watch out, coming down the aisles up there.
Boy. You don't see many balls hit up there. The 0-1 to Moreland. Mitch is 2 for 2 tonight. A pair of singles. Moreland now at .303 with the average. Capuano, a check of the runners. And he bounces it in there. Pierzynski keeps it in front of home plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Capuano originally came up with the Brewers. That was back in 2004. He was a starter, well, the whole time. He went from the Brewers to the Dodgers for a couple years. Pitched 1 year with the Mets. Now with the Red Sox in their bullpen. And that's going to be called a balk. And Brzezinski is going to argue with home plate umpire Greg Gibson, but Gibson immediately got out from behind home plate, signaling balk. And I thought I saw Capuano start to go into a stretch motion and then stopped a little bit, hesitated. And John Farrell talking to Greg Gibson. Capuano trying to explain to Gibson what he did. Gibson's having none of that. See if he doesn't hesitate a bit after he starts into the motion right there. So the balk puts runners at second and third now. And it will force the Red Sox to play their infield almost all the way in, about halfway, just in front of halfway, with Fielder at third. And the pitch to Moreland got him on the fist. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, whatever that little hesitation was, he didn't do it on that particular pitch.
Moreland doing a good job this year with runners in scoring position. An opportunity with 2 Rangers out there. Second and third. 1 and 2 the count. Line drive, base hit to left field. Fielder will score. Rios being held at third. And Mitch Moreland comes through again. An RBI single. It's 5-0 Rangers.
That's a beautiful piece of hitting right there. He had a pitch that he could launch. The first pitch of that at bat, he just hooked it foul a little bit. Now he's behind in the count to a left-hand pitcher, and Capuano makes a pitch down and away. Actually, it's not down, but it is away off the plate. And Mitch trying to make contact, ropes that ball into left field. Nice job of going the other way with a pitch away, just like you're supposed to do.
Well, Moreland, 3 for 3, has his 12th RBI of the year. Runners at first and third. Still just 1 out. And JP Arancibia takes strike 1. Arancibia continued his 0-for against Clay Buchholz. He went 0 for 2 and doesn't have a hit off in his career. Well, he was probably glad to see Buchholz get out. See if he can do something against Chris Capuano. 0 and 2 as the changeup floated in. Arancibia tonight, a fly ball to center, a pop up to second. Rangers 5 runs on 11 hits. It's the tandem of Buchholz and Capuano. Alex Rios, the runner at third. Mitch Moreland at first. 0 and 2 the count to Arancibia. JP waiting. Capuano says okay, in comes set. And Arancibia, fly ball to deep left center field. Sizemore on the run, back at the track, makes the catch. Tagging at third, jogging down the line to score is Alex Rios. And JP Arancibia put a real charge into it, couldn't get it out, but got the RBI on the sacrifice fly. It is 6-0 Texas.
JP's hit a number of balls like that. Hit one in Anaheim with the bases loaded. That almost was a grand slam. That was almost a 3-run homer. Puts a good swing on it. Makes pretty solid contact with it. Inside part of the plate. There'll be days where that ball does go out of here. This wasn't one of them. And Sizemore, who's pretty much a center fielder playing left field, ran back to get it. But that does get a run in, so good job. by JP to make solid contact and get the run in.
Yeah, Leonys Martin checking his swing, and he did successfully. 1 ball and no strikes. So the Rangers close out the book on Clay Buchholz. 4 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 6 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. For Buchholz, who had come in here throwing pretty well, as Tom told you. And Leonys Martin, a drive deep to right field, down the line, goodbye. Home run number 2 for Leonys Martin. It is 8-0 Rangers.
A lot of good at-bats for the Rangers in this game. Played a nice game yesterday to shut out Colorado, and they're following up today with another all-around nice ball game. Good situational hitting. Got the long ball. That's a ball that Capuano, I'm sure, wanted down and away, and it stays on the inside half of the plate. Kind of like the one Mitch pulled foul, but Leonys was able to keep that one fair.
Rougned Odor takes low and outside. Not much doubt for Leonys when he made contact. That ball 359 feet, the estimated distance. Odor takes high and tight, 2 balls and no strikes. Rougned his first major league hit last time up. And a single to right field, and unfortunately caught stealing. But they didn't take the hit away. That will always be there. 2-0 pitch. Now 2-1. Odor, the 8th Ranger to come to the plate here in the 5th inning. They have put 5 runs on the board against the Red Sox. Capuano back to the plate. He misses high. It's 3-1. Go to Odor with 2 outs, trying to get aboard. Following him will be Shin-Soo Choo, the leadoff man. Now the Rangers, you may remember, among the best in baseball. They lead the American League against left-handed pitching at .298. That was coming into play. There's a little pop-up on the right side. And Pedroia takes care of it. That will do it. But Rangers continue their onslaught against left-handers or right-handers. 5 runs across in the inning. We're going to the 6th. Rangers 8, Red Sox nothing. Rangers 8-0. Yu Darvish getting a lot of run support again. Tonight he has not needed much. He has been Very good standing on his own. Going to work here in the 6th inning. He will face the bottom third of the Red Sox order. A.J. Pierzynski, Will Middlebrooks, and Jackie Bradley Jr. Pierzynski called out on strikes his first time up. Reaches out and pokes one out to Elvis at short. One pitch, one away. An economy of pitches tonight for you, Darvish. You had 16 outs on 70 pitches. That is excellent work. Now Middlebrooks, who struck out the first time that he faced Darvish. Good look at the inning by inning breakdown. The highest total, 17. And that's a pretty modest pitch count for you, Darvish, who's accustomed to throwing a lot more than that. 0-1 to Middlebrooks. Rangers employing a shift against Middlebrooks that pulls everyone around to the left. And the pitch low and outside. Odor, the second baseman, as you can see on the shortstop side of second. Elvis well over in the hole, and Beltre very deep and toward the line at third. Darvish okays the sign. The right-hander's set to go. Popped up. Prince fielder into foul territory. Waiting for it to come down. Puts it away. That is out number 2.
The last 4 guys have made some contact, but not exactly ringing contact.
The best ball hit, Grady Sizemore is going to reach for one and got good wood on it.
He did.
And that and the fly ball by Ortiz, I think in the first inning, the only 2 balls that have really been stung at all. Here's Jackie Bradley Jr., who struck out his first time. And a good fastball down and away for strike 1. Darvish with 9 strikeouts. Reading the signs from J. Pierre Ancibia. Time called as Bradley tired of waiting. Darvish nods in agreement and is set. 0-2.
A little cut fastball right there at 89 miles an hour. Just another example of all the pitches he's used today and how well at this point in time they're all working for him.
Yep. And the crowd getting into the U chant. 0-2 pitch coming to Bradley. Close, strike 3. 10 strikeouts for you, Darvish. A 6-pitch inning, and we are through 6. A perfectly good game for Darvish and the Rangers. 8-0 Texas. Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $700 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Judy Dodd from Wills Point. The Ranger hits a grand slam this inning. Judy Dodd at Wills Point will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. We gave away $600 last night. So the jackpot tonight, sorry, Judy, it's $100 tonight. SHIN-SOO CHOO starting things off. Chris Capuano back to the hill. CHOO 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Rangers 8 runs on 12 hits tonight. Darvish shutting out the Red Sox through 6. CHOO now with the average of .337. And he takes that pitch inside from Capuano. 2-0.
That's a bad night for CHOO. He's only been on base 1 out of 3 times. Got a couple more bats to go, though.
To left field, Sizemore to his left a few steps, makes the catch. And CHOO is a hard out, 1 away for Elvis Andrus. And let's take time here to say hello once again to Jane Slater. Jane?
All right, well, May 17th, put that on your calendars. It's Michael Young Day. And what you're going to see in the concourse leading up to, I'm going to give her a marker here. We are going to say goodbye to Michael Young with one of these cards. Michael Young, you're a big fan?
Oh, yes.
So she's going to sign the card along with all the fans leading up to that May 17th retirement ceremony. 6:45 is when it starts, so make sure you get your tickets and you're here to support him. Still tickets on TexasRangers.com. And like I said, down in the concourse, we brought it up here. Ralph and George were kind enough to do that for me tonight, but you can sign us and make sure that you tell him how much you appreciated Michael Young's time here in Texas. Guys, back up to you.
Thanks, Jane. That'll be a great night out here. Hope everybody has an opportunity to come out and say their own thanks to Michael Young. Pitch to Elvis is way upstairs. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Elvis a perfect night. He is 3 for 3 with 3 runs scored, 3 singles. His second 3-hit game of the year. His last one, you have to go back over a month. It was April 5th against Tampa Bay. 3-1 now. Elvis trying to get aboard with 1 out here in the 6th inning. Adrian Beltre waiting to be next. Capuano to the wind. And the fastball hit well to right field. Victorino going back. Still going back. It's over his head and off the wall. Elvis in with a slide at second with a double. He is 4 for 4 tonight.
Yeah, and even though that ball wasn't hit on the ground, it wasn't a fly ball. It was a line drive. So he's doing tonight exactly what he needed to do, what everybody wanted him to do, and he's got a lot of happy teammates for him. He's kind of one of the guys that you would label as the heart of the team, and when he's struggling, they struggle. So they're glad to see him swing the bat like this. And Victorino plays him shallow like a lot of right fielders do. And he hit that on the line, and Victorino didn't have a chance to get back to catch it.
Yep, that time it burned him. So 13 hits now for the Rangers. And Adrian Beltre takes a slow breaking ball in for strike 1. Beltre an RBI double in the first. The next 2 times against Clay Buchholz, he went down swinging. Elvis the lead from second. Capuano checks him. And a fastball for a strike. It is 0-2. Four-hit night tonight for Elvis. The first 4-hit game for a Ranger this year. I would say that's pretty good timing.
I'd say so too.
And Adrian just able to get a piece of it. Spoils an 0-2 pitch. Well, good timing because Ron Washington had, I'm not going to say begrudgingly, but he would have rather have not had to have moved Elvis back up to the number 2 slot tonight. But he said, hey, you know, he's been swinging a little bit better. I'm going to try it one night just because I need to break up some left-handers, and maybe he'll get hot tonight. And I think that the heat has struck. 0-2. And Adrian expanding his strike zone. He's done that a couple of times tonight, able to get a piece of it.
Elvis came into the game hitting .227. He's hitting .250 now. He swung at a couple of pitches that are a little bit outside today.
It's like a drum major twirling that bat around. Another 0-2 is coming from Capuano. Call strike 3. Got that comeback fastball to the inside corner, and Beltre caught looking, has a couple of things to say to Greg Gibson as he goes back to the dugout. Now Fielder gets between Gibson and Beltre. Ron Washington out there to protect his third baseman.
Adrian doesn't argue very often. Very good-natured guy. Might have had an argument there, though.
Yeah. Yep. No, 2 away. Here's Fielder, who is 1 for 2 with an RBI. 0-1 as Capuano hits the outside corner. Fielder's RBI single came in the 3rd inning. And a solid rope to left center field. 0-1 pitch coming. And that's just off the outer edge. Fielder 2 for 7 lifetime against Capuano. Both those hits have left the ballpark. Elvis with his lead from second at the bottom of your screen. And the next pitch, like a little cutter off the outside. It is 2-1. And with the left-hander on the mound, again, the Red Sox don't go into an extreme overshift. Fastball. It is 2-2. Capuano came on in the 5th inning with 1 out. He gave up an RBI single, a sacrifice fly, and a 2-run home run before he could finally get the 3rd out. Here he gave up a 1-out double to Elvis. He's now at second with 2 outs. Fielder trying to pick him up. Two and 2 the count as Brzezinski goes through the series of signs. Call strike 3. And Fielder's got a few things to say to Greg Gibson. Not heated, but enough to say I thought that was outside. He's gone on strikes. A hit, 1 left. We're going to the 7th. 8-0 Rangers. play, and so far, boy, it has been all Yu Darvish. Painting, overpowering, and finessing. The Boston Red Sox here tonight with 10 strikeouts through the first 6 innings. He has had a little bit of something for everybody and has changed from one at bat to the next. DXU energy inspired by you, and we mean you and you, Darvish.
He's probably had his best fastball tonight when you combine location and velocity. He's pretty much thrown it where he wants to.
First pitch of the top of the 7th inning to the top of the Red Sox order, Dustin Pedroia. Just a bit outside for ball 1. Pedroia grounded to short back in the 1st inning, struck out starting off the 4th. Big rip and a foul ball. It's 1-1. Season high 10 strikeouts for Yu Darvish, the 21st time that the right-hander has done that since he came to the big leagues at the start of 2012. And since that time, nobody in baseball has had more 10-plus strikeout games than Yu Darvish. 1-1 pitch. Poked into right center field in a hurry. LEONYS Martin, he's there and makes the catch for out number 1. Now SHIN-SOO.
Yeah, in this kind of a game, the good thing that Darvish is looking at right now is his pitch count. It's only 79 pitches.
Victorino has struck out both times that he has faced Darvish tonight. Both times swinging at the 3rd strike. And he watches that breaking ball come to the inside corner. It is 0-1. Darvish gets the one he wants from Aaron Sebia. Target set outside. Fastball fouled back. It is 0-2.
He's seen a breaking ball. He's seen a fastball, and he struck out twice, and he's facing 0-2 right here.
If you're Victorino, you got to be in defensive, just survival mode now, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to do. He's just trying to hit the ball back up the middle and put it in play right here.
Squirts that foul off to the right. It's still 0-2. It's not very often you see big league hitters have to be in a defensive mindset at the plate. But when you get a guy like Darvish who is working with what he's working with tonight as far as stuff and location, it makes the best hitters a little bit more meek. Long look into Aaron Sebia. Victorino tired of waiting. No balls, 2 strikes. 1 out in the top of the 7th inning. Off the end of the bat, and fielder will take that to the bag himself. That is out number 2.
Well, he was in the defensive mode. He was trying to just put the ball in play, and that's pretty much what that was. Just a little slapped grounder toward first base. Threw a little cutter, little cut fastball right there. Hit him right off the end of the bat. And that kind of a pitch, making some kind of contact's about all you can hope for.
Greg Gibson, the home plate umpire, out to deliver a new baseball personally to Yu Darvish.
That's respect.
It is. David Ortiz has flied out twice tonight. Once to left, once to center. One ball, no strikes. Yu Darvish closing in on Ranger records for most 10-plus strikeout games. He is 3rd all-time. Bobby Witt just ahead with 24 of them. And then Nolan Ryan with 34 leads the pack. The pitch is low. It's 2-0 to Ortiz. Well, you remember Darvish got behind in the first inning to both Pedroia and Victorino, came back and got him. And this is really the first time we've seen him behind a hitter at 2-0 since then. And ball 3 sails up and away. You trying to calm himself internally. This is where it starts mounting up on you if you let it. Come back with a 3-0 pitch. And 3-1. About the time of the ball game, you put it on autopilot and just go with what feels right. So much for the thinking, so much for, well, here's what I've done before and all this stuff. This feels like the right pitch right now. 3-1 to Ortiz. Fly ball, shallow right field. Odor, the second baseman, was out there to begin with, and he missed the ball as it looked like he heard Alex Rios coming in and shied away.
Well, that's Rios' ball right there. That's a high fly to right field.
Now, in case you're wondering, Steve Weller is the official scorer, and that can be scored either way, to be quite honest. And since it wasn't touched, some official scores will say, no, that's a base hit all the way, and others will say, I don't care if it was touched or not, that still should have been caught.
Alex has got to call him off and catch that ball, especially in this kind of a game. That ball goes up, you got to catch it. And that's a tough play for a second baseman, that far out in right field. That's Alex's ball all the way.
Well, the first base runner of the night, and still no judgment rendered. Darvish working to Mike Napoli, who has struck out both times tonight. I don't envy Steve Weller sitting over there trying to decide.
You know, I think almost any other time, it's a ball that should be caught, but it generally goes as a base hit.
And Mike Napoli fouls one way up in the air back over our heads.
You know, the biggest threat for a base runner in this game, and to get a hit in this game, is Ortiz. And you get behind him 3-0 and come back and get him to pop it up. You know, the second baseman keeps going until he hears the right fielder call.
Yeah.
And I don't think Alex called for that.
1-1 to Napoli. High and away, 2-1. It's been ruled an error on Alex Rios. Well, they are in agreement with you, Tom, that it was Rios' ball to take and should have been taken by him.
Yeah, when it's that far out in right field and the right fielder is right in front of it and stops, it's pretty obvious that it was his ball. He's got to be screaming for that and tell Odor to get out of the way.
Well, strike 2 to Napoli to even the count.
And watch Odor. He's way out in right field right now. Alex is just kind of looking at him. The ball bounces right in front of him. It's one thing if the score is 8-5, but when the guy's got a perfect game going, you got to bump into each other at full speed to try to catch that ball.
2-2 to Napoli. Pulled foul down the left side. A tough break to lose a potential perfecto on that kind of a ball. But you got to pick yourself up and go right on with it. Two outs, Napoli at the plate, Ortiz at first. Darvish a high set. Outside, 3-2. rising to their feet in support of Yu Darvish. A full count with 2 outs in the 7th inning. Payoff pitch. Ball 4. 2 aboard for Grady Sizemore. Aaron Seaby out just very briefly to say something to Yu Darvish. Big right-hander upset with himself for walking Napoli. I'll be upset with himself too for letting that missed fly ball maybe bother him a little bit.
43,000 people in the stands it bothered too.
Yeah. Well, here's Sizemore, who is flied to right and lined to left. Ball 1 is low. Sizemore hitting at .229. He's got 2 aboard with 2 outs.
So the ball falling in is going to end up costing him probably somewhere between 8 and 10 pitches maybe.
Sizemore to right field. Rios back a couple of steps, makes the catch, and that will do it. No runs, no hits, an error, a walk, and 2 men are left. We're going to the bottom of the 7th at Globe Life Park. 8-0 Rangers. Baseball on TXA 21 is sponsored by Honda and the Spring Into a Honda sales event, and by Frost Banking, Investments, Insurance. Now 45,392 on hand, and they had just about let all the air out of the sails on the fly ball off the bat of David Ortiz in the top of the 7th inning.
Odor is playing deep in right field, so it's not that tough a play for him. And he could have caught the ball, but if you're the right fielder on that kind of a ball, you got to come in and catch that ball. You got to call for it. No matter if Odor is playing deep out there, you got to call for it, call him off, and come in and catch it. You just can't let that ball fall. And Alex has been in the big leagues for 10 years. Odor's been here for 2 days. That's his ball. There's plenty of balls that an infielder can go back and catch, but it's an easier play for a veteran outfielder coming in, and I'm sure Alex would be the first one to say that. It looks even worse under the circumstances. Yeah. You know, you don't have a base runner in a game, and it's the 7th inning, and You can't let that ball hit the ground.
Edward Mujica has come out of the Red Sox bullpen. He becomes the third pitcher used tonight by John Farrell. The numbers on Mujica. And Alex Rios will lead things off. It'll be Rios, Moreland, and Arancibia. Mujica, stocky right-hander, fires, and the pitch fouled away to the right. 0-1 to Alex Rios, who is 1 for 2 with a couple of RBI. And an RBI single in that 5-run Ranger 5th inning. Also had a sac fly. High and outside. Mujica, 29-year-old, just about ready to turn 30. And the pitch popped up. Victorino, the right fielder, waiting for it to come down. That is out number 1. And Mitch Moreland coming to the plate. Moreland, a perfect night himself. 3 base hits, 3 singles, an RBI, and a run scored. First 3-hit game of the year for Mitch. Last time he turned that trick was last September at the Trop down in Tampa Bay. Red Sox putting a semi-shift on against Moreland. And a broken bat fly ball to center field. Easy play for Jackie Bradley. That is out number 2, and the business into that bat. Going out about 3/4 of the way to first base. Well, Moreland 3 for 4 as he makes a right turn at first. And now J.P. Arancibia. J.P. almost got one out of here last time up. Hit a long sacrifice fly to the wall right in front of the bullpen in left field. Red Sox bullpen takes a strike for Mujica. That sacrifice fly driving in the 6th run of the year for Arancibia. Down to the count now. No balls, 2 strikes. Rangers leading this 8-0 tonight. One and 2. Arancibia with the Blue Jays faced Boston, of course. They're in the same division quite a bit. Just has never had much luck against them. Takes it out off the plate outside. It's 2-2. JP came into the ball game with a 145 career average against the Red Sox. Next pitch. And it's down low. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Mujica, who signed as a free agent this past offseason with the Red Sox, trying to work a 1-2-3 inning, which will be the first one against the Rangers tonight. And he gets Arancibia to swing through a high fastball. So the Rangers do indeed go down in order. We have finished 7 at Globe Life Park. Rangers 8, Red Sox nothing on TXA 21. Yu Darvish back to the hill. He will face Xander Bogaerts, A.J. Pierzynski, and Will Middlebrooks here in the 8th inning. Breaking ball stays inside to Bogaerts. The young shortstop has struck out and grounded to second. First 2 base runners of the game against Darvish in that 7th inning, an error and a walk. And he throws a fastball to Bogaerts in the inside corner. Next pitch for Darvish will be number 100 this evening.
Play out in right field probably cost him, I'm not sure, maybe 10 pitches.
Yeah.
And it just makes it that harder to pitch 9 complete innings without throwing 135 pitches.
Two and 1 the count on pitch number 100.
At the same time, got a big, strong guy. Prime of his career. That's 135 pitches, right?
Exactly. And the pitch is low. 3-1 now to Bogaerts. Darvish 66 strikes, 35 balls tonight. He has been in command the entire ball game. The 3-1 pitch. That runs the count full. Bogaerts, the 21-year-old shortstop, first on the scene in postseason last year for the Red Sox and was a sensation. Won the job this year and got off to a great start. He's backed off a little bit. Now time called as Bogaerts not quite ready, and Darvish was. The right-hander sets. The payoff pitch is on the way. Breaking ball inside, ball 4. And the second walk of the game, second walk in the last 3 hitters issued by Darvish. 1 on, nobody out for Pierzynski. This will be interesting. There's got to be a lot of things going through A.J. Pierzynski's mind right about now. He was with Darvish a couple of times in late game situations like this. Kind of got inside of his head, knew what he wanted to throw. Be interesting to see if A.J. overthinks it or has a pretty good idea what he's doing up there. This pitch high and away for ball 1. Guys that get to this point in a ball game with this on the line tend to change a little bit. The adrenaline does different things to different people. The possibilities spread out in front of you make you focus on different things. But once a pitcher establishes some way to close out games, he very rarely goes away from that mindset. One and 0 the count as Darvish sets. Pulled on the ground. Fielder knocks it down. He will take it to the bag. Steps on first, down to second. Goes Bogaerts. That is out number 1. And it'll bring up Will Middlebrooks.
Will Middlebrooks.
Alexi Ogando in the Ranger bullpen getting loose in support of Yu Darvish. It is used game now and will be unless something untoward happens. And Middlebrooks pops it up. Around the bag at second, Elvis Andrus right near the bag. Makes the grab, and that's out number 2. With Bogaerts at second and 2 away, Jackie Bradley Jr. coming up for his 3rd at bat. Bradley, a pair of strikeouts. And one thing about this young outfielder, with nobody on base, he hits 109. With people on base, he's at 296 this year. And he's got Bogaerts out there at second base. Could be just a statistical anomaly that's when he happened to get his hits, or it could have something to do with his focus. 1 ball, no strikes. Darvish peering in for the signs as Aaron Sebia flashes them out. And the changeup floats outside. It's 2-0. Darvish trying to give himself a little pep talk and say, okay, get on top of that pitch. Reach out there with it. Make it do what you want to. Wash working that gum over pretty well. Fans hoping they are viewing something really special. 2-0 pitch. 2-1. About ready to throw pitch number 110 tonight. A check of second. And he misses high and outside. It is 3-1. If you lose Bradley with a couple out, then you go back to the top of the order. And that means Dustin Pedroia. Fastball right down the middle. So a full count to Bradley. Bogarts had a full count leading off the inning and walked. And now all 45,392 have just become instant Yu Darvish fans. They are on their feet, hollering Yu. Most of them were before, but there are a few converts now. Payoff pitch is on the way. Breaking ball, shot foul down the first base side. We'll come back and try it again, and Darvish gonna hung that one to Bradley, but got away with it. Fans clapping, applauding, yelling "you!" Another 3-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Darvish with his 11th strikeout. Strands Bogarts, no runs, no hits, 1 left. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Rangers 8, Red Sox nothing on TXA 21. Craig Breslow, the left-hander, on for the Boston Red Sox. 4th pitcher used tonight. And there are the numbers on Breslow.
Yeah, Breslow's been a solid left-handed reliever for a long time. Pitched for the A's for a number of years. This will be his 9th ball game.
Leading off for the Rangers, the center fielder, LEONYS Martin.
Breslow will face LEONYS Martin, Rougned Odor, and SHIN-SOO CHOO. His predecessor, Edward Mujica, went a perfect 7th inning. A couple of fly balls and a strikeout. And now Breslow on to pitch the 8th. LEONYS Martin 2 for 3 tonight. Had a 2-run home run his last time up. And he takes that off-speed pitch in from Breslow. It is strike 1. Foul back, 0-2. Breslow, a 33-year-old, came over from the Diamondbacks. Trade that sent Matt Alberts and Scott Besednik over to Arizona in 2012. Pitch is wide. 1-2 to LEONYS. Rangers 8 runs on 13 hits tonight. Boy, LEONYS right on that breaking ball and fouled it straight back. Martin having some good at bats. Along with his home run, he had a single to lead off the 4th inning. Rangers got going tonight and just never let up. They had at least 1 hit in each of the first 6 innings.
It's been a good team effort, too. 6 hitters in the lineup have all had at least 1 run knocked in. It's been a good all-around ball game.
1-2. Breslow from the belt. 2-2. Breslow, a Yale graduate back in 2002. Chopper down the first baseline. Tough hop, but Napoli handles it well and out races Martin to the bag. That's out number 1. So Napoli staying with a tricky hop very nicely. 1 gone and Rougned Odor coming up. So Breslow got dual degrees in molecular biophysics and biochemistry.
That's even hard. That's hard to say, no, let alone study it.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is or how to say it. And he's pitching. Now, if you wanted to know the physics behind the pitches, he could probably help you out with that. I mean, you want to know why a breaking ball breaks.
No, I wouldn't understand the explanation.
He might be able to tell you why a left-hander can't throw the ball straight.
There you go.
Yeah, we could ask him.
He's left-handed.
Yeah. Odor pops one up near the on-deck circle and reaching in. A.J. Pierzynski can't quite hang on to it. But fans in the first row not giving him a whole lot of assistance over there, which is the proper thing to do to the visiting catcher. Odor alive at 0-2. Now right there, you reach out and dump a Coke in his pocket with his glove. Breslow's next pitch. 1-2 now. Breslow back in 2009, considering what we just told you about him, named the smartest man in baseball by Wall Street Journal. You can understand why, huh?
One thing to be one of the 10 sexiest people in the world, but another one to be the smartest man in baseball.
You hear a best dressed and guy with the best slider and whatever. Smartest man in baseball. 2-2 the count. And another pop-up in foul territory. This one will reach back about 7 rows over the Ranger dugout. It remains 2-2. Breslow originally came up with the Padres back in 2005. Was with Boston for just 13 games in 2006. And spent time with Cleveland, Minnesota, Oakland, and then Arizona before coming back to the Red Sox. Good rip by Odor, and he fouls it straight back. Odor 1 for 3 tonight. His first major league hit back in the 4th inning. Breslow set to work. And Odor finds one deep to left field. Going back is Sizemore, and he reaches up and makes the grab and tumbles to the turf. The extra base is taken away from Rougned Odor.
Left fielder SHIN-SOO, CHOO.
Boy, it didn't look like there was any way Sizemore was going to catch that ball. What a beautiful play. And again, you're talking about a center fielder that's happened to play left field tonight.
The blazing speed may not be there the way it was, but that's still that instinct to go after the ball and be able to make a catch like that. Here's CHOO. Fouls off the first pitch to the left. It's 0-1. SHIN-SOO tonight 0 for 3 officially. He's walked and scored. Other than that, he has struck out, flied out, and lined out. And another foul ball to the left. It is 0-2. CHOO coming into this game, hitting .429 against left-handed pitching. That was tied for 4th in the American League, and that, of course, after hitting just .215 last year. To center field, falling in a hurry, and is down for a hit. And SHIN-SOO CHOO snaps an 0-for. He was 0 for 10 prior to that single. He is aboard with 2 outs here in the 8th. That'll give Elvis another crack at a 5-hit game now. He's 4 for 4. Double and 3 singles. Also scored 3 times. Average at .250 for Elvis. Big breaking ball is low and inside for ball 1. Well, Andrus in this game has raised his batting average 23 points. And we're talking about the second week in May. This isn't mid-April. And you don't have enough at bats to stabilize things. There's a knee-high strike. It's 1-1. One career 5-hit game for Elvis. That was last May, almost exactly a year ago, against the Tigers. 2-1. Rangers 14 hits tonight. Able to put 8 runs on the board. A 5-run 5th really broke this game open. In the dirt. 3-1 to Elvis. Reminder that tomorrow night we're back here again on TXA 21. Saturday night special for you. Martin Perez and John Lester in a battle of left-handers. And a strike fills the count to Andrus. Well, with 2 outs, CHOO will be off and moving with the pitch. Not being held on by Napoli. Breslow ready, and the payoff delivery. Got him swinging. Well, Elvis has his perfect night in, but he still goes 4 for 5. Rangers get a hit, strand a runner. We're going to the ninth. It is Yu Darvish taking on the Red. Yu Darvish out to the hill, and if you feel like we've been here before, we have. And that man has. He's got the Red Sox on the hook as we go to the ninth inning. It will be the top of the order to face him. Dustin Pedroia, Shane Victorino, and David Ortiz. And 45,392 building to a new crescendo as Pedroia steps in. Pedroia 0 for 3 tonight. A fly ball, a ground out, and a strikeout. Fastball fouled away. 0-1. The next pitch for Darvish will be 115. Darvish with 11 strikeouts, 2 walks. The 0-1 pitch. 1-1. Ron Washington has become a fan, just like the other 45,000 plus.
45,000 people glad they bought tickets to this game.
Yep. And the next pitch low and inside to Pedroia. It's 2-1. Pedroia hitting at 278. He is 4 for 10 against Darvish in his career. Chopper foul. That evens the count at 2-2. Folks aren't daring to sit down. They're starting to have an electricity build here that you don't often feel in a ballpark. The 2-2 pitch. Beltre gobbles it up. 1 out. Shane Victorino will face Darvish. This occurred back in the 7th inning with 2 outs, nobody on. A misplay charged as an error on Alex Rios. That was the first base runner of the night. against Darvish.
What the official scorekeeper is saying is that was a routine play. It was the right fielder's ball, and it was his error for not taking charge and catching that ball.
Victorino, 2 strikeouts, a ground ball to first. 0-1. Fouled away, and Darvish with the advantage in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Maybe some memories for that little guy along with his dad. A lot of memories being built in this ballpark here tonight. Darvish ready, the 0-2 pitch. Popped up down the left field line. Beltre and Andrus, it's back 3 rows. And we'll come back and try it again. Darvish up over 120 pitches now. The right-hander is set. Got him swinging. Third time tonight that Victorino has struck out. 12 punch-outs for Darvish. And there are 2 away with Big Papi coming up.
That's a pitch that's been working for him all night long, a hard slider. It's the toughest out in the Red Sox lineup.
Ortiz, 2 fly balls, well, 3 fly balls, 2 of them caught, 1 of them dropping in for an error. He takes that first pitch, knee high outside corner, strike 1. Again, the Rangers in that shift. Rougned Odor way out in right field. Adrian Beltre playing a normal shortstop. 0-1 pitch from Darvish. 1-1. Just had 45,000 umpires bring the right hand up, but the guy behind the plate didn't. Darvish ready with the 1-1 to Ortiz. Inside, 2-1. Ranger fans with all manner of cameras trying to preserve this moment for posterity. 12 minutes after 10 Central Daylight Time on May 9th. Ground ball, right side, by Odor into right field, a base hit. And it has happened to you, Darvish, again. Unbelievable. And in unison, all 45,000 standing and applauding you, Darvish, as Ron Washington heads to the mound to take the ball and call for help from the bullpen. What a night, though, for you, Darvish. As well as I think I've seen him pitch in a Ranger uniform. And the crowd certainly appreciating everything that was you, Darvish, tonight.
Yeah, I guess, Buzz, there can be times when a no-hitter sneaks up on you, and there's a lot of hard-hit balls and great defensive plays made. But this is one early where, you know, you didn't come out and say this because you don't do that, but you know, you say to yourself, with the stuff he's got tonight, he's got the kind of stuff that could throw a no-hitter. That's the way he was throwing. And even at the end, he was throwing the ball well, and Ortiz hit that ball hard, but he hit a ground ball. You get a little bit luck, and the ball goes right at somebody, you have a no-hitter. Unfortunately, it found a hole, and that's the 3rd time that's happened. That's the toughest out in the Red Sox lineup, and he was up for the challenge and got a base hit.
Here it is. Got a fastball down the middle, and Ortiz, you got to give him credit. He was able to put the good part of the bat on it and hit it through the Ranger shift. Hit it hard enough that neither Andrus nor Odor could come up with it. And Darvish He's got to be saying to himself, I can't believe I did that again. You know what?
Oh, boy. You know, the other, you can't go back and wonder what if, but if the 7th inning ends on that fly ball to right field, it's 21 up, 21 down.
Right.
And it's 10 less pitches going into the 8th inning. And, you know, who knows? Maybe the next guy hits a home run. There's no way of saying. And as it was, he's at one. He still had one batter to get himself a no-hitter. But had that fly ball been caught, then it's a perfect game going into the 8th inning.
Yep.
And, you know, maybe his mindset's a little bit different. Maybe the outcome's a little bit different. But that's the way it goes.
Well, that's a very talented man that the Rangers have wearing that uniform for them, Yu Darvish, and he'll be there again. He will get it done in the very near future. So Alexi Ogando on, asked to get the final out of the ball game, facing Mike Napoli. Alexi missing low and outside for ball 1. You know, Ron Washington and Tim Bogart, I'm sure they feel a letdown. But, that's one of those special moments in baseball that doesn't come around very often, and you hate for it to leave on the last hitter. That pitch all the way to the backstop. Down to second goes Ortiz. And the count is 2-0 to Napoli. Wild pitch charged to Alexi Ogando. Napoli tonight has struck out twice and walked. His walk followed that fly ball, the errant fly ball that dropped in the 7th inning. 2-0 pitch on the outside corner. Napoli, a .284 hitter. Facing his former battery mate in Alexi Ogando. Fouled back. 2-2. Rangers 8 runs on 14 hits and 1 error. Red Sox no runs on 1 hit and no error. Red Sox have had a grand total of 4 base runners tonight. The 2-2 pitch. Count is full. Ogando trying to put the final nail in this ball game tonight. Finish off Yu Darvish, 3rd win of the year and the 8th Rangers shutout of the year. Fly ball left field toward the line. CHOO waiting for it to come down and puts it away. That is a winner. A winner by Yu Darvish, Alexi Ogando, and the Ranger offense tonight. An all-around outstanding ball game. Yu Darvish with 8 2/3 no-hit innings gives up the base hit to David Ortiz and comes away with a win. A combined 1-hitter between he and Ogando tonight. Well, an outstanding game. Back-to-back shutouts now for the Rangers, and they are in rarefied air with 8 shutouts in their first 36 ball games.
You know, Buzz, right when you think you've reached the point where you're never going to get a complete game, you're never going to have the bullpen get any rest. Those first 3 games against Arizona, baseball, it's funny. When you've got a good team, eventually things come around. And they played an excellent game yesterday and got the shutout and bounced right back against the Red Sox with another great game today. And hopefully the team just takes off from here. And sometimes when it gets to the darkest point, it's just a matter of time before that light at the end of the tunnel appears, and it appears that might have been the case for the Rangers. 2 good games after 3 bad games against the Rockies.
Yu Darvish walking back into the dugout and followed by his Ranger teammates. Happy to get 2 in a row for the first time in almost a month. They put down the Red Sox and continue the mastery they've had over Boston in this ballpark in the last couple of years. Now won 6 out of the last 7. We'll take a break. Be back to wrap things up from Globe Life Park right after this on TXA 21.